First, that thing. Love it. And a dog bean bag filled with memory foam, not beans, so it's quiet and crazy comfortable. Yeah, I love that thing. Totally love the thing. Okay, so, update. The Granulomatosis with Polyangiitis. I'm doing okay. The Rituxan infusions, I don't know if they're being effective yet or not. I have 2 done. I have 2 to go. The next one is tomorrow. Everybody at Shar Cancer Institute, they're amazing. I go in the morning and I sit down. They access my port. It's a little tiny thing under my skin, so I don't have to hunt for veins because I really don't have any. And it's bruised a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. The scar tissue has built up over it so that I honestly barely even feel it at this point. So they do that, and then I go upstairs to the 9th floor and to the infusion center and sit down. By the time I make it up there, which usually takes about 5 minutes, they already have most of my blood back from the morning, that so impressed me. You don't have to wait around forever for anybody to get their stuff together. They know what they're doing. It's all go and done deal, which I appreciate that very much. I've had some side effects. My hair is still here, so that's a win. Hopefully it'll stick around for the duration. My mouth, the inside of my mouth, the skin peels off, it cracks and bleeds. It's really painful. It's kind of miserable. So, which is part of the reason why I haven't been doing videos as often as I had thought that I would be able to, because, yeah, some days I really just don't want to talk. It hurts. And then I got thrush on top of that, which just made it infinitely worse. It is doing better now. Obviously, I'm talking. Other than that, so normal human body, you make 7.5 milligrams of steroid a day. For what's produced in your adrenal gland is called cortisol. It's the same thing as prednisone, basically. Just prednisone is the man-made version of it. I have been on 60 milligrams of that since June 2nd. They let me step it down last week to 40. Thankfully. It's starting to level out a little bit. I can tell a tiny difference. The biggest thing is, I had 14 pounds of water weight gain in 3 days, and my face is still swollen, my arms and my legs, and it's just a side effect of the medication. One that I really don't appreciate. And I'm bruising really easy, and normal things that you would expect with taking something like that. And roid rage is totally a thing. Yeah. So I can hear myself being irrational, and I know I'm doing it, and yeah, poor Rich and Cat. It's getting better. Like I said, it's leveling out. We're adjusting to it. I'm learning to stop when I hear myself doing it, because I'm not, on the whole, mean or, I don't like being like that. It makes me feel awful. So, we, it's an adjustment, and we are adjusting with it. We're trying to. And Kat finally is back to work, because she got furloughed for COVID. That's a good thing. She's happy to be back to work. That should help stuff too. And of course, Rich has been at work the whole time. Now they get the annoying part of when they come back home, they have to, decontaminate, because the apartment is supposed to be my clean, safe place. The only one I have. I don't know. I just know that they come in, they have to change their clothes, and, wash their hands and their face and all that, everything. And it's kind of a pain in the butt for them. But they do it, and I'm very thankful they do. And they've actually been wonderful. Now, the single most frustrating side effect of any of this right now is the insane amount of insomnia I have. On average, I'm only sleeping 30 minutes to an hour and a half a night, if that, sometimes, and usually that is even broken up. I don't get that in one stretch. And yet that doesn't always make for the, I don't know. It's not always for the most soothing spirit to sleep, not at all. So, because of that, I've actually been designing a lot, which I'll get to that in just a second. And that is helping a lot. Other than that, on the medical thing, I got my MRI results back finally from everything. 4 years ago, I had ruptured a disc in my neck at C5 and C6. And we knew that was there, and it was basically just a confirmation before they do a spinal fusion to fix it because it's pressing on the nerve to my left arm. Unfortunately, it's not that simple now. The disc above the one that ruptured and the disc below it are both herniated now. So I would need significant more fusing. And of course now I'm on the Rituxan and I'm doing everything else and basically killing my immune system. So getting any surgery fixed, getting any surgery to fix anything is not going to happen, especially if it's on your spinal column. That's just, no. And I don't debate that in any way whatsoever. That would not be the right thing to do. I'm just frustrated with occasionally dropping stuff out of the blue because I moved my head and my left arm went numb. Or suddenly my knit stitches look a little off because I knit with my left hand. That kind of stuff is very frustrating. But, it's just something we're going to have to deal with. And my doctors are now suggesting that I go ahead and file for disability. Especially after the MRI stuff came in. Because it's gonna be a long 2 or 3 years to get, by the time everything is said and done and I'm able to get my neck fixed, it's gonna be a long haul. And my rheumatologist, to quote her, says, "I have no business being in the general population until there is a working COVID vaccine." And that should take from now about 10 to 16 months. So, yep, I'm here for the duration. Okay. So, yeah, that's not too much fun, but none of it is as bad as it could be. And, with answered prayers and faith and love and everything else, I know that we will all get through this and it will be okay. It's just, it's a process. Okay. Now for the fun stuff. Well, fun to me. Okay. So this, yay, is my design space. And I'm sorry about the shakiness. So, and then, if I move myself, okay, so whenever I want to design something, I get inspiration from who knows where. Bolt of lightning, you name it. Trip on something. Seriously, anything. And I start with a yarn. And once I get the yarn, then I grab some needles and I do something called a swatch. Which is so ironic because when I first started knitting, I despised swatching. It was like the worst chore in the world. I just wanted to get to what I was knitting, and I wanted to get to the project. I didn't want to have to do little tiny squares of whatever. That was so annoying. But after having made an entire project and had it come out the completely wrong size, And yeah, I did that more than once, by the way. I learned the importance of swatch. So now I'm like swatch girl. So I pick a yarn, I pick a needle, and then I decide if I like the stitch. And if I don't, then I try a different needle. Or if it's too tight, I get a bigger needle. And I play with it until I get the stitch that I want. And that will allow me to have so many stitches per inch and so many rows per inch, so that I can get a true measurement and predictability on size. Which, yes, I actually like that. I love when everything balances out and it's all just the way I wanted it. And the coolest thing about it is, it's not just for knitting. It is across multiple crafts. And I will show you exactly what I mean. Oops. I love this little alphabet guy. I got him at the dollar store, and the only thing I use it for is blocking swatches. Because you have to wash them and stretch them to make sure that they get the right size and everything, and this is perfect for that. Anyway, so crochet. Different hooks, yarn, same result. The different hooks will get you a different size stitch. You do the stitch that you like, and you make a swatch. This is knitting. This is kind of insane knitting, though. I literally used thread. And these needles are insane. I don't even know where I stuck them. They're thinner around than a paper clip. Yeah, that was my moment of insanity. I just wanted to do it to see if I could do it. But there they are. Needles. Knitting needles. Yes, that's insane. So swatchy swatchies. And then these are for needle tatting. This one. And I tat as well. So different size needles, different size threads, yarns, you're going to get a different product. And that's what I like to play with. I love manipulating it and having it do what it's supposed to do. And, okay, somewhat more reasonable. This is a lace glove I've been working on. And, so I got, a swatch that I liked and a stitch that I liked. And then I went from there and I got the stitches per inch so that I could do a specific design on the back of the hand in lace work, which that's what this is. And then, my crib notes so that when it's all said and done, I can type it up and have it put out. But I think I'm most excited right now about is this one. So 6 years ago, my lovely, wonderful dog, Tonka, I love her to pieces, decided to go in my knitting stuff and grab Rich's sweater that I had started on. And this was across the backyard. Oh, there's more too. There's quite a bit. Yeah, there's a lot more. So I've untangled most of it and reballed most of it and taken care of it, but there's still quite a bit left. And that's okay though. So I put it in a project bag, completely forgot about it for 6 years. And then we moved here and I found it and realized what it was. And I'm almost kind of thankful in a way because, one, it wasn't a cheap yarn. It's a very nice yarn, actually. And I didn't have the skill to do what I wanted to do then, that I do now. So I'm making Rich a traditional fisherman's sweater, which in Scotland and Ireland, they had the individual cabled patterns that were specific to clans and families. And the cool part about it was, not cool, but interesting. if a fisherman went overboard or the boat, sunk, or for whatever reason, when they came ashore, their family could identify them based on the pattern on the sweaters. And the more important the person was within the community, the more detailed and varied the patterns were, and the more they covered the sweater. Like somebody who's a newbie, he may only have a thin design down the front of his chest, whereas somebody who was the captain of a fisher vessel, he may have the entire sweater covered in these cables, and they would be very individual. So I'm kind of cool. It's kind of cool that I get to revisit the yarn because it is really pretty, and I get to design my own thing for Rich. So I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty cool that, he's letting me have carte blanche and do what I want to do. So I had to, again, do a swatch, and I had to know how many stitches per inch and, how many inches around he is, and then figure out the cabling that was going to be done in the middle. So this is only the center panel. The outside will have more honeycomb patterns and more columns. These are twisted columns. And this is kind of a big braided part in the center. So I'm excited to do this. That's number one that was in the work. And this guy, I don't usually do stuff with crochet, so it's kind of interesting that I got a bee in my bonnet on that one. But this one I'm doing this is called a waffle stitch. It's a waffle stitch cardigan. It'll have a high waist belted and a slight bell sleeve, and the sleeves are only elbow length, with a V-neck, and I think that's pretty much it for that one. I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. It's easy. It shouldn't be too much problem. And I say that, and I'm watching me really fight doing that V-neck on that waffle stitch, which I think actually may happen. But that's okay. That's what playing is for, and I have nowhere to go. So that's actually great. Keep me occupied. But I did go from the swatch like that to, measured, ready to go, craziness. Yeah. So, and the part I said I was going to show and tell on myself. Okay, most knitters have something called works in progress. Actually, I've never met a knitter who didn't have at least 2 or 3 projects going. I think the average on a poll online was 5, roughly 4 or 5. The part where I tell myself, I have 14. So there is the problem with being creative, because you will have an idea and you'll do it, and then you realize, ooh, wait, I could do that instead. So you do that. And you kind of end up with craft ADD, I guess. I don't know. But 14 things over here are works in progress and are my designs. So there's a blanket, there's a scarf, there's 2 sweaters right there, there's a cardigan there. You get the point. Only one of the projects I'm working on are actually a pattern of somebody else's. I'm teaching myself how to macrame as well. So while I love being creative, sometimes it's kind of almost a hindrance, because it's hard to stay on one thing, which is why these 2 sweaters, Rich's and the waffle knit, are kind of getting special treatment right now, because I really just want to get those done. And I do have 3 things that are completed and need to be the pattern written out and put onto Ravelry and Etsy and stuff. So I have gotten a lot done lately with it, which is kind of cool. It's nice to actually have this opportunity to take the time and do what I love to do. That's, to me, is just amazing. We don't always, get that. So Anyway, this is, for me, my happy place. I'm excited to share it with all of you. And, if you want help with anything or lessons or any of that stuff, just message me and we could set something up. Video chatting is actually pretty effective. I'm learning. Anyway, so thank you all again for the support and the kind words, and I will see you next week.